Now, I would like to teach you peripheral vision. We pay attention to everything when we're working with our clients, okay? And when you're in peripheral vision, you're going to notice what changes on the part of your client much more. And if you're highly kinesthetic, just naturally, if that's your preferred representational system, and I'll tell you about what those are in NLP later today. If you're in touch with your feelings, highly kinesthetic, we call that in NLP. And you're in peripheral vision, and your client changes their state, how do you think you're going to know that they have? You will feel it. And here's the trick. You're all more in touch with your own feelings and kinesthetics when you're in peripheral vision. Not only does it open the aperture of your visual awareness, you will, as I guide you through this process, notice other things with regards to your other senses also. More specifically in this context, because we're not at the dinner table where your gustatory and olfactory senses are also going to be enhanced, but more specifically, I'd like you to pay attention to what you notice differently auditorily as well as kinesthetically, feeling-wise, while I teach you a visual technique. It has an effect on all your senses, and I don't want to tell you at this stage what that effect is, because I'd like you to find out for yourself. So remember, this is a lovely outward-orientated trance, where you're in a light hypnotic state, but your attention is on the important thing, your client, okay, not on yourself. Okay, so the way in which we're going to start to learn how to do this is to first find a point that's directly in front of you and slightly above eye level. I'm not doing your typical eye fixation induction, but it does start off with narrowing your focus on a point, and this is just a way of learning how to do it. This is not how you do it later on. So a point that's directly in front of you, so you don't have to turn your head to the left or right, and slightly above eye level, that's directly in front of you, so you don't have to look to the left or right. And a tiny little point of reference, not a whole picture or something, just one little speck. So you've got an object of reference now. As you keep your eyes fixated on that, I'm going to have you change your focus. Although I'd like you to please keep your eyes fixated on that and remind you to continue blinking naturally. Keep your eyes lubricated. So while your eyes are fixated on that, go ahead and allow your eye muscles to relax. And that for you might mean relaxing the muscles around your eyes. You can imagine the tone of your skin around the eyes kind of smoothing. Keeping your eyes on that point, blinking naturally, allow that relaxation to spread. Kind of welcome it around your whole face, so that your jaw muscles can relax and your tongue can go soft and limp. And while that relaxation spreads all the way down your neck and shoulders, I'd like you, while you're observing that point, to allow your visual field to begin to expand, so that you're not only aware of that point, but also the area completely to the left and to the right of it. Maybe the entire section of the room along that wall, around that point. Blinking naturally, keeping your attention on that point, and expanding your visual field even further now, so that you can bring your visual awareness softly, in a defocused kind of way, to include 180 degrees to your left and your right. You're observing that point, and you have a soft awareness of the room totally to your left and right at the same time, blinking naturally. And while you're expanding your visual awareness, comfortable relaxation, blinking to keep your eyes lubricated. I'd like you now to pay attention to your breathing rate and notice what you notice about your breathing. And pay attention to what you hear. What are you noticing with regards to your auditory acuity? Can you hear the music? The running water? The fan? While you hear my voice? And just notice your overall state. And it might be interesting just to pay attention now to the space between you and everybody else in this room. Just notice the space, the area between you and all the others in this room. Be curious about what you notice, just with regards to that space or the area that exists between you and the other individuals. And if you're very curious, you may wonder, where does that space begin? And where does it end? And then you can blink a few more times and let go of focusing your attention on that point and bring your vision down to whatever it is that you'd like to be focusing on now. Well done. Audience participation time. What did you notice? Did you notice something?
Yeah,
Marna?
quiet.
It went quieter, or the room went quiet. We've heard that. What went quieter, really? All our experience is subjective. It's all within us. What went quieter? Our self-talk. And guess what? When you get your self-talk, the inner critic out of the way, which peripheral vision facilitates, you're more intuitive. You're more able to feel what happens when the client's state changes, because you will feel it in yourself. And still, even though you'll feel it inside yourself accurately, we always check with the client. I am noticing something here. Does it have relevance to you? I don't assume now, hey, I've got the psychic skill, I'll just, tell the client what's going on for them. No. I'll still check with the client. But in checking, I'm feeling like a bit of a tension here in my stomach. Does that have any relevance to you? And the client's going to go, wow, this person pays attention. And it builds rapport. What did you sense? What did you become aware of?
I became aware of, when you spoke about the 180, that there was actually a little movement in my eyes. I became aware that my eyes were actually moving to try and pick up on either.
Going there. Okay. All right. It's the first time you're doing it. And that may be your inclination to go, what now? I have to see 180 degrees to my left and right, and you're aiming to focus there. The conscious mind's going, no, I'm not used to seeing 180 degrees to my left and right. I have to actually look there to see what's there. And the practice is to keep your attention on a point of reference and have a soft focus. You're not clearly seeing what's there, but there's awareness. For example, if I'm looking ahead of me now and I move my hands right as far back until I can not even see them anymore, but when I wiggle my fingers, yes, there's awareness of something there. That's the whole idea. There's awareness of the room 180 degrees to your left without having to visually see it. Okay, but thanks for your feedback. Did anybody else notice other things? What about the breathing? A relaxed breath. Okay. It changed. It went softer. That's interesting.
The room became quieter.
The room became quieter.
And when you said, can you hear water? Then I heard water. Now
Okay.
the water comes.
Now you're not hearing anymore, but then you could.
Yeah.
That's interesting. Because between talking, the room's just as quiet, so to speak. But when you say the room became quieter, do you mean only auditorily?
No,
You mean something more than that, don't you? Yeah.
the atmosphere changed.
Uh-huh. To what?
Relaxed content.
Oh, you're even adding content into that.
I think
Okay.
so. It must be like everybody's like quiet.
Okay. A quiet space. Interesting. Interesting. Folks, share with the rest of us, please. What was your experience? Have you come out of it yet?
Yes. Well,
Okay.
Yes and no, actually.
Oh, I like that answer.
Part of me wants to stay there
Wants to stay there. For what reason?
because I enjoyed it.
You enjoyed it.
Yeah.
What did you enjoy about it?
The sense of just awareness of everyone, particularly the everyone thing.
The everyone.
Yes.
I get distracted.
Okay.
The clock, for instance,
Okay.
and the extremely loud ticking on it.
Extremely loud. Is it bothering you right now?
No,
Oh, it isn't.
no,
It's not very loud then.
not now.
Oh, but it was suddenly. The clock started clicking louder.
Yes.
That's amazing.
So
Stop that clock.
someone had to do something, obviously.
Okay.
That I saw people moving there. Anyway.
There were really people
yeah,
moving.
There were people.
Okay.
I'm sure.
How sure?
But something else happened. My heartbeat. I became aware of it, for one, and then everything shook in rhythm with my heartbeat.
Everything shook.
Yeah, everything I could see and be aware went like this.
Now that's
It has
interesting.
happened before, so
Mhm.
it's not a new thing, but it happens now again.
That just says something about the size of your heart.
I could hear your heart beating.
Yeah. Really loud. It was annoying. That's entering peripheral vision very deliberately in this way. However, you can maintain eye contact with me and be in peripheral vision. In other words, you are seeing me crystal clear, and on your left, you're a little bit aware of Nico. On your right, you're a little bit aware of the urn. Okay? And they're vague, but just the awareness thereof, vaguely in your visual field, puts you into the state, and that's all that matters. We did it very overtly now in that exercise and maintained that, in which case you saw lots of things blurry for a time. So you may wonder about my visual acuity is not heightened if everything's fuzzy, but what is heightened visually is your awareness of much more within your visual field, and movements and changes. Changes in color, changes in shades from dark to light, movements. You'll be very acute to those kinds of things. Your auditory acuity becomes heightened, you become aware of more things. At the same time being in peripheral hearing, which is that acute hearing which one can enter through peripheral vision, and then close your eyes. And stay acutely aware of everything that's happening in your external environment auditorily. Did anybody have an uncomfortable experience? Was it unpleasant?
Watery eyes.
Yeah. Remember to blink. That's why I made that suggestion a few times. Otherwise they just fixate, locked open like that. I'd like you to go into peripheral vision. Easy. Find your point again. And while you're looking at that point, just quicker than before, allow your visual field to expand. Just invite that expansion of your visual field so that it spreads to include the entire room completely to your left and right, while comfortably keeping your eyes on that point. Okay? Now, the trick is that once you've expanded your visual field in this way, you start to notice those comfortable indicators of trance. Maybe you start to sense that holding, as some have put it. You might even start to notice something that is present, that was present before, but now you can become aware of it. And what you define as that presence is entirely up to you. And while you're in this state, you can remain in this state with an outward orientation of attention while you release that point. In other words, staying as you are, let go of that point so that you can move your eyes around the room and you can just be quite natural about what you're looking at as normal. But there's a maintenance of that state. And the way in which you can revivify that state anytime, anywhere, is to just, whatever you're doing, without even a point of reference, is just bring softly into your periphery awareness of what's happening here. And through rapport, you can help somebody in tremendous ways to advance in their thinking or to overcome obstacles without even using any of the techniques.